Hi, my name is Leonorin. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my philosophy as a special education teacher. I hope this presentation provides valuable insights to my colleagues, my students, as well as my families that I work with. A teaching philosophy serves as the foundation for how an educator approaches teaching, builds relationships, and supports student success. As a special education teacher, my philosophy is centered on creating an inclusive environment that supports learning where every student has the opportunity to reach full potential. Today, I'm going to discuss the role of special education teachers in supporting students' learning, collaborating with families and colleagues, and upholding professional expectations. I will also share my personal vision for meeting the needs of students with exceptionalities, explain the ethical frameworks and professional practices that guide my decisions, discuss how a Christian worldview and servant leadership influences my teaching, and describe how I will continue to deepen my understanding of diverse learners throughout my career. Before I get started, I'd like to tell you a little about my background in special education. For the past 3 years, I have been a special education teacher. For the past 2 years, I have been in a private school that serves students with autism who exhibit severe behaviors. I teach ages 11 to 14, so the middle school age kiddos. Most of my students are nonverbal and use a communication device, and we use the Essentials for Living assessment, which creates their curriculum and focuses on developing functional skills to promote greater independence rather than the academic curriculum. Working with this population has shaped my philosophy as an educator. It has taught me the importance of patience, flexibility, collaboration, and celebrating every student's unique strengths and progress. So, starting off with the roles of special education teachers, I'm going to start with the supports of learning. As special education teachers, we create and develop IEPs. These IEPs are based on specific needs, which means we need to get to know the students before creating these IEPs. After we create these IEPs, the next important step is implementing them. We need to make sure we implement the right accommodations, modifications, specialized instructions, and supports that are written. We also need to regularly monitor this progress to see how they're doing. Beyond the IEP, supporting learning also means holding high expectations for students, promoting inclusion both inside and outside of the classroom, and making sure we're protecting their physical, emotional, and educational well-being. Overall, it's about creating a safe and supportive environment where students feel comfortable and ready to learn. Heading in to the legal responsibilities. As special education teachers, we're working with and following legally binding documents for our students. So there are definitely legal responsibilities that we need to be aware of. First is following all federal laws and regulations. It also means adhering to state standards and district policies. When we look specifically at the IEP process, we have to ensure that the IEPs are developed, implemented, and reviewed within the IEP timeline. We also need to make sure we're keeping accurate and up-to-date documentation for each student. In addition, we need to make sure we're ensuring compliance with procedural safeguards and due process rights, as well as supporting the delivery of all legally required services outlined in the IEP. Overall, it's our also responsibility to follow professional ethical codes and legal guidelines while also maintaining student confidentiality. Now, heading in to those ethical responsibilities. These responsibilities really focus on how we show up professionally and how we treat and support others in our work. One important part of this is recognizing and understanding the different types of bias in the workplace so that we are making sure we use fair and equitable practices with all students. It also means respecting and valuing diversity, individuality, and the unique needs of each student. As special education teachers, we also serve as a positive and professional role model, not just for the students, but also for the support staff that work in our classroom. On top of that, we need to stay current with professional ethical guidelines, best practices, and expectations in special education since these can change over time. Another key responsibility is maintaining appropriate, respectful, and professional relationships with students, colleagues, and families. It is also important that we demonstrate cultural responsiveness and sensitivity in both our interactions and in our daily instruction. Heading into collaborative responsibility. Collaboration in special education involves working with not just the students, but also the staff, families, and other professionals. One of the main responsibilities is regularly communicating with guardians about students' needs, progress, and educational goals. It's important that families are kept informed and involved in their child's education. We also collaborate closely with the general education teachers, administration, support staff, and any other professional working with the student. This helps make sure everybody is on the same page. In addition, special education teachers participate in meetings related to the students, including IEPs and team discussions. Throughout all of this collaboration, it's important to maintain not only an open but respectful and professional communication so we can support a unified approach to helping the students succeed. Next, heading into advocacy. Advocacy is very similar and overlaps in a lot of the collaborative responsibilities because a lot of our advocacy help is happening through this collaboration. So one key responsibility is ensuring that we, as teachers, consistently communicate and bring specific needs or even concerns to parents, teachers, counselors, and any other relevant team member involved in the student's education. We also advocate by supporting students during transitions. So this includes grade-to-grade transitions or even post-secondary transitions, or if they're in a life skill program into their another life skill program. Another important aspect of advocacy is explicitly teaching and reinforcing problem-solving, self-advocacy, and decision-making, so then the students can better advocate for themselves over time. Finally, advocacy also extends to us as the teachers. It involves our own ongoing professional development as educators. It also actively works to strengthen school and community supports and increases engagement opportunities that benefit our students. Now I'm going to head into my personal views for meeting needs. I'm going to first kind of go over what I think these needs being met means before using the professional dispositions that's given to us by Grand Canyon University. So being a special education teacher is not just one role. It involves being an educator, a supporter, a researcher, and even at times it can be a nurse or a therapist, or even sometimes a parent figure. While those roles may emerge in different moments, at the core of it all, my goal as a special education teacher is to be present in every way possible for every student that I have. I want to help students show what they are truly capable of, while also creating a safe and supportive space for my coworkers, students, and even myself. My goal is to contribute to a positive learning environment for everybody who steps foot in my classroom. So now I'm going to take these personal visions and relate them to the professional dispositions that GCU gave us. First is holding high expectations. As a special education teacher, expectations will vary from student to student. However, maintaining high expectations at each student individual level helps ensure that they are still being challenged and supported in meaningful ways. Next is respect for diversity of others. I not only want to respect the diversity of students and staff, but also actively embrace it. My goal is to create an environment where diversity is normalized and valued so that it naturally becomes a part of the classroom culture for both students and staff. The next disposition is fairness. This can sometimes be one of the most challenging areas because fairness does not always look like equality from an outside perspective. I want to approach this fairness by setting clear expectations and ensuring that I take the time to understand both staff and student concerns. The next is professional conduct, and this is something I continuously work towards throughout my teaching experience. As a teacher, working alongside multiple adults in the classroom, I want to serve as a positive role model in all professional areas. Although the job can be challenging, it is important to consistently demonstrate professionalism through communication, dedication, participation, and responsibility. The next is reflection. As special education teachers, we are also human, and there's always room for growth. Taking time to reflect allows us to learn from our experiences and continue improving our practice for the benefit of our students. The remaining few dispositions include curiosity, honesty, compassion, advocacy, and dedication. These traits collectively describe the mindset and behaviors of an effective educator. Curiosity involves seeking knowledge and exploring solutions to better understand and support students. Honesty means being transparent in decision making while remaining professional and respectful. Compassion and dedication reflect on the level of care, commitment, and consistency we bring to our work. Advocacy focuses on promoting positive change for students and ensuring that their needs are met. These traits ultimately support stronger learning outcomes for all students, especially those receiving special education services. I have said this before, but reflecting on those dispositions and my personal vision makes me consider the truth in what other people often say. It takes a special person to do what you do. With this vision in mind, I do believe it requires someone committed to these values in order to become an effective and exceptional special educator. Next, moving into the ethical frameworks and professional practices. Ethical frameworks and professional practices standards cover a wide range of topics, and while each are very important, they're all connected in supporting effective and ethical teaching. I'm not going to discuss every individual code of ethics or professional teaching standards because that would take hours, but I do want to focus on the aspects that are most important to my teaching philosophy. So, understanding and applying ethical frameworks helps create professional, respectful, and a welcoming environment, which is exactly the type of classroom that I want to build. Maintaining professional competence and establishing clear expectations for what is and what is not acceptable in the classroom are essential parts of the ethical framework I strive to uphold. I want staff, students, and families to understand that everyone is accepted and valued. At the same time, if that respect is not upheld or expectations are not met, situations will be addressed professionally, fairly, and consistently. Another important aspect of ethical framework is advocacy. I've mentioned this a lot, but as a special education teacher, I believe it is my responsibility to advocate not only for my students and their families, but also myself as an educator. By advocating for the resources, support, and professional development I need, I can better meet the needs of my students and provide them with the highest quality education possible. Overall, in the ethical frameworks, being ethical means taking responsibility for acting professionally, promoting a safe and inclusive learning environment, building positive and appropriate relationships with students, families, colleagues, and community members, and using technology appropriately and responsibly. All of these areas contribute to what Grand Canyon University describes as using wisdom in the pursuit of human flourishing. When educators understand and consistently apply these ethical frameworks and professional standards, they demonstrate a commitment to ethical decision-making and professional excellence that ultimately benefits every student they serve. Now, as I connect my teaching philosophy to the statement of the integration of faith and work, I approach it from a broad perspective because I'm not Christian. Instead, I view GCU's beliefs as an opportunity to grow my teaching philosophy by considering perspectives that are different from my own, including a spiritual perspective. As I read through all of these principles, the one that connected with me the most states, "We believe that Jesus Christ is both Savior and Lord, and that all who follow Jesus seek through his kingdom and his righteousness in relation to all aspects of human experiences, including culture and society. Therefore, we have resolved to carry out our work within the public arena with compassion, justice, and concern for the common good." This principle stood out to me because of its connection to being a special educator. The words that resonated with me the most were culture, society, compassion, and concern. These values closely align with how I want to serve my students. My goal is to provide every student, regardless of their culture and background, with a quality education while treating them with compassion, understanding, and genuine concern. Although my personal beliefs may differ spiritually, I appreciate that these values encourage educators to create inclusive, caring environments where every student feels respected, supported, and valued. Next up, into continuing my education. Taking all of these topics into consideration, my philosophy of teaching is rooted in commitment to continuously learning about the understanding and diverse needs of all learners. As education evolves, so do the needs of students, which means I must continue growing as an educator and adapt my practice to best support them. After earning my master's degree, I plan to continue participating in professional development opportunities offered by my workplace. In addition, I want to regularly take responsibility for my own professional growth by regularly reading current research and evidence-based articles on new instructional practices and advancements related to different disabilities. Education is constantly changing, and I never want to become one of the teachers who relies on the methods they were originally taught. I want to remain open to new ideas, reflect on my own teaching practices, and continuously improve my skills. By staying informed and committed to lifelong learning, I can provide my students with the highest quality education and support they deserve. Before I wrap this up, I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen as I shared my teaching philosophy and the ways I hope to continue to grow as an educator. Before I go, I want to leave you with this thought. I look forward to being a teacher who deserves more than simply teaching academic content. I want to help shape my students into confident, capable individuals while creating a classroom where they feel supported, valued, and encouraged to reach their full potential. At the same time, I hope to always be a teacher who can never stop learning, because the more I grow as an educator, the better I can serve my students who are counting on me. Thank you.